Congratulations. How are you feeling?
On fire. I feel great. I'm alive right now, and I'm just, super grateful and blessed, and I'm on fire.
Is this how you thought your first UFC win would go?
It is. It is. I knew I could get the job done, and I knew I could get it done in the first round. Yeah, it's exactly how I thought it would go.
Was there any surprises in there in that first round?
His durability. He was, I landed some really good shots, and he kept coming. I was a little surprised at his durability. I thought there was a couple times he was done. So yeah, his durability was good.
How would you rank this win amongst all your others?
Well, I mean, this is on the big stage. It's up there at the top. I felt more at home this time compared to the Contender Series fight. I had nerves, got the best of me in the last one, and I just didn't really feel like myself till maybe the second round of my Contender Series fight. But I felt a lot more home on this one, just more comfortable. I'm in my element.
How about when you go out in front of a big crowd? Do you feel like that's going to be like your first real big fight, or do you feel like you kind of like fighting here? You kind of want to stay here for a little bit?
No, I'm ready to get in front of the crowd. I miss my fans terribly. I'm an entertainer and a performer, and I love that. I love the roar. I'm used to a pretty big fan base. I mean, even since I started, I've been, God's blessed me with a real big support system, and yeah, I'm so ready to get in the arena. I just want to feel that roar of the crowd.
And now the UFC seems to be going out on the road a lot more now. Is there a city or a date in mind that you kind of want to make a pitch for?
The Miami card would be pretty cool coming up. Just, really any arena, but especially somewhere, kind of close to the southeast region, where my fans could afford to come and everything. But I'm not picky. Just any arena, really.
What about an opponent?
It don't matter. Just I ain't got nobody in mind really. Just whoever they put in front of me, I'll get the job done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry if I missed it. What was the game plan for him tonight?
Pressure. The main game plan was pressure. Keep my jab pumping, stay in his face, and just be violent.
And then when you had him hurt and you went for the finish, did you know how bad he was hurt and that all you had to do was just kind of hop on top and finish it off?
Yeah, you can. You got some people's got a killer instinct, and I feel like I was blessed with a killer instinct, and I smelled blood and I knew if I went for it, I could get him on out of there. And I think I had like 1 second left, something like that. So yeah, I smelled blood and went for it, man.
It was exactly 1 second left.
Yeah, I knew it was close.
I was going to say, did you know it was that close to the end that you had to kind of put the pressure on?
Yeah, I heard the 10-second bell, and man, if you're in there with me and you hear that 10-second bell, you better cover up because I'm going to town.
I know you had the win in here with the Contender Series. A lot of fighters we hear oftentimes say they don't feel like they're really in the UFC till they get that first win. Now that you've got this win in here, as not in the Contender Series, but an actual UFC victory, does it feel like you are now here in the UFC?
It does, yeah. I feel at home now, man. I'm in my element. I was born for this. I feel like I feel like God's got me exactly where I need to be in life, and I feel like a UFC fighter now for sure.
And you're coming in here on one heck of a win streak. What would you say has been the keys to your longevity in this win streak that you're on?
My coaches. I mean, hands down, my coaches. I mean, I owe everything I am, to my coaches and the team I got behind me, man. I wouldn't be who I am, I wouldn't be the fighter that I am without the coaches that I have behind me. I 100% believe that I've got, the best team and the best support system, best fans, and the best coaches in the world.
That's a great answer. Congrats on the victory. Look forward to the next one.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Trevor, you mentioned that you were kind of a street fighter, a rough kid growing up until you found your purpose. What was your, this journey like into MMA and finding your purpose in life?
It was hell. Honestly, it was rough for a good bit, man. I had a very bad problem with just addiction and stuff like that, and it was just I went around and I hated myself. Honestly, I didn't like who I was, and I just didn't care about anything really. I mean, I loved my family and stuff like that, but I didn't really love myself, so I got into a lot of trouble. I mean, I've been arrested more times than I can count on both of my hands, and I got God in my life, man, and like I said, He's given me a purpose and an identity, and He's given me a plan, and I'm trying my best to execute that plan, the way I would think He'd want me to.
How did you get into MMA?
I had a old friend. He was big into it, and he called me. He called me one day and asked me if I wanted to go fight. And I thought we was going to a parking lot fight, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'll go. And he said something, and I was like, wait, what kind of fight are you talking about? And he was like a UFC fight, man, like in a cage. And I said, oh, well, what do I got to do? And he said, I just need to get your mom or dad to sign a piece of paper. So I went and found my dad. My dad was like, yeah, man, yeah, I'll sign it. And so I went and beat the guy up real bad. And then I won another unsanctioned event, and then won another sanctioned event. And then so that's how I got my first taste of, what the cage was like. But I didn't start training until 2018, and a lot of that was partly due to, I was still wild and didn't have no vision for my life yet. And even in my wilder days, man, before I ever really stepped foot in the gym, when I was strung out on drugs and stuff, I would tell my friends, like, I think I could make it to the UFC, and if I could ever get my life together. And they're like, man, won't you try it? And I'm like, I got to get my life together first. I can't. And they're like, man, you should train. And during that time, I couldn't really control myself. I had a serious like anger problem, and just really was loose cannon, man. I said, I can't get no more dangerous than I already am. I mean, I'm already, hurting folks out here in street fights. And I was like, I will once I get my life together. And I was involved in a bad vehicular accident, and a good friend of mine and an innocent woman got hurt. And it was at that moment in my life that I knew I had to do something differently. And I asked God to change me, and take certain things away from me, and just that I'd always give Him the glory if He'd take them things away from me, and He did. And I just want to try to honor Him by doing good in this life. And so.
So you thought you were going to a street fight, and it ended up being an MMA fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. Man, I did really good. That in the second round, the kid tried triangle choking me, and I stood up and rampage slammed him, and he ended up quitting on the stool before the third round. And it was just I was only 15 years old during that time, so I mean it was real cool.
Did God come into your life before you got into the training with MMA, or did the training in MMA kind of lead to that?
No, I got God in my life first. He after I started trying to get my life together and everything, I always, like I said, always in the back of my head, I knew that if I started getting my life together, that I wanted to try to pursue MMA. So I pretty much would go to work, and then I lived at my grandpa's house, and I cleared out a little spot in his shed and hung me a punching bag up, and just started beating on that punching bag every day after I got off of work. And I went and done a smoker event, and then me and a couple buddies went and started training at the back of this karate dojo. And I went and done an MMA event, and I fought Rampage Jackson's little cousin, and ended up losing by split decision, which I thought I'd won. And I met this gentleman over here, Jeff Powell, down at a jiu-jitsu gym in Kimball, Tennessee. And I told him, I was like, man, we got a real good group of guys up in Henniger, Alabama. We could really use you up there. And it took me 3 or 4 times talking to him about it, but he finally, started coming around. And this makes 11 fights I've won in a row, since he come into my life. I haven't lost a fight, and I've barely lost a round since I come to know Jeff.
And the car accident, you were involved in it, and did this happen before the training?
It did. I had started, I'd come off of some drugs and stuff, and I'd started going to church just a little bit, and the punching bag, beating on it every once in a while, but then I kind of slowly started drifting back, down that road. And then the accident happened, and I was in jail and everything, and I thought I was done for a long time, man. And once I got out of jail, I just started really focusing on church, really focusing on getting my life together, and dove headfirst into this MMA stuff.
Well, congratulations on the success. And then after you won, I noticed Bruce Buffer came over to you and handed you his, I guess it was his intro card?
Yes, sir. Yeah, he blessed me with that thing, man. I don't know what, I didn't even pay, like I watched the fights, man, but I guess I missed all the introductions of the fighters, and I didn't even know Bruce was here tonight. And like, you know, I seen him in the cage and I was like, well, here we are, man. Like, this is, I even turned around, all my coaches smiling. I was like, dude, it's Bruce Buffer. I've been waiting on him to go, Trevor Peek, for a long time, man. So, yeah, it was definitely a dream come true. I guess I fanboyed over him a little bit, man, but it's just checked it off my list of dreams, man. It was real cool meeting Mr. Buffer.
Well, I talked to him immediately after that about that, and you because he's only given that kind of a card out one time before out of the, I guess, thousands of fights that he's overseen. And he said, yeah, he saw something special in your eyes and saw you as like what a fighter should be as a role model.
Oh, man, well, what an honor. That's, dude, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that with me, man. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.